You can send a variable amount of arguments to functions in Python, and this is achieved by using ARGS and KWARGS. KWARGS, also known as keyword arguments. And within Python code, you see 1 star before ARGS and then 2 stars before KWARGS. Why the 1 and 2 stars? Well, 1 star unpacks iterables and 2 stars unpacks dictionaries. I'm going to be going over 9 different examples that utilize ARGS and KWARGS within functions, as well as one example that uses a class and one example that uses both. That being said, let's start coding these examples. Okay, so example number 1. What we're going to do for this one is we're going to find the smallest number. So I'm going to say find the smallest number. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just create a basic function. We're going to say def, and we're going to say smallest number like this. Now, inside over here, we're going to be starting off with args. So just put ARGS, and you can see I have the star over here to the left. Then we can put a colon, and then I'll put return this. So return, and we're going to grab the minimum, min, and inside over here, we're going to have args like this. So just run this over here. I'm using Google Colab, and it'll take like a minute just to start up, but that is our first one on that side of things. And then let's call this function. So we're calling smallest number. So I'm going to put smallest number like this. And let's put a few arguments in here. So let's start off and keep it basic and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if I run this, you can see it prints out 1, which is the minimum. Awesome. So let's try this again and change this up. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, let's just type in just random numbers. So I'm just going to look away from my keyboard and type some stuff. Not technically random. But our smallest should be 7686, and that is the smallest. Again, I only used 4 there, so let me expand this out just to show you that this works. And 231 is going to be our smallest this time. So let's rerun that, and we are back to 231. So this is like as basic as it gets. Let's expand on this a little bit. So example number 2, what we're going to take a look at is multiplying numbers. So multiplying numbers. Okay. And here's how we do this. So what I'm going to say is def, and I'm going to put multiplier in here. So multiplier like this. And then I'm going to put args in here like that. Awesome. To start off, what we're going to have to do is set a total equal to 1. The reason why I set that up is if we start off with a 0 total, anything you multiply by 0 is going to be 0. So that's why I'm starting off with 1 right over here. And we want to access each element in this args, right? Or our tuple. So what we're going to say is for arg in args like this, we're going to say total equals total times arg. And then what we're going to do at the very end is we're going to return the total. So a little for loop in here inside this function. Again, a lot more complexity than this just minimum. So let's try this multiplier. And inside this multiplier, let's start off with 2 numbers. Let's start off with 2 and 10. Our result should be 20. So let's run that. We have 20. Awesome. Let's put another one over here. Let's times it by 5. We get 100. Let's times it by 3. We get 300. Look at that. We have 300. And just for fun, let's times it by 0 at the very end. We should get 0. And we do. Let's take a look at some string examples now. So we're going to say example 3 string args. Okay. And what we're going to do is, like a lot of my other videos, I use a lot of baseball references. So we're going to have baseball lineup over here. And inside over here, we're going to also take in a few arguments. So what we're going to do this time is show you how you can have arguments predefined before we jump into args. So I'm going to have first hitter, second hitter, and then we'll put args. So args. And maybe actually let's put third hitter. So third hitter and then args. And the reason why I have 3 on here is every inning in baseball, there has to be at least 3 batters. So that's why I have first, second, and third hitter. These are the people that are up next in the lineup. So what I'm going to say on this one is we're going to print out and we're going to say batting first, and we're going to put this over here, and we're just going to put first hitter. So put that. Actually, I need a space here, and we'll put first hitter like that. Then we'll do the same thing for second and third. So it's batting second, batting third, second, and third. Right. Copy these over. And then what we're going to do for anyone after, we're going to say for ARG and ARGS. Oops. We're going to say print another batter. And we'll put ARG in here. So ARG like that. Again, grabbing it from our for loop, which you'll notice I use for ARG and ARGS just like I did up over here. You'll see that syntax quite a bit, and I think it's easy to represent, ARGS over here for ARG and ARGS. So I would recommend that you do that, although it's kind of optional how you want to build out your for loop. Okay. And let's have this over here, and let me think of a baseball lineup. So we're going to say baseball lineup, and Willie Mays just passed away yesterday, so let's put Willie Mays in here. Willie Mays. Then we'll put over here Ted Williams. Then we'll just throw in next Mickey Mantle. And then we'll put in Joe Morgan. Okay, so for great baseball players, and what you'll see what happens is batting first, we have Willie Mays, right? Batting second, we have Ted Williams. Then we have third, Mickey Mantle, and then another batter, Joe Morgan. Well, what happens if we add in a few extra baseball players? So let's add in a few more. I'm going to add in over here Carl Yastrzemski, and I always misspell his last name, so good luck spelling it. And who else are we going to put in over here? Let's put Barry Bonds. Why not? And we'll put Barry Bonds. And if I run this now, you can see another batter, another batter, another batter. So you can predefine other arguments in here for a normal function and then call args later and then essentially have this for loop in here and continue to build this out. You can see we defined our first three batters and then we just say another batter, another batter, another batter. And you can build this out as you want. Baseball lineup has 9 hitters, so feel free to expand that if you want, but I think this is a good way to go over args. So now let's jump into KWARGS, or keyword arguments. So we're going to say KWARGS like that. And I try to do a better job labeling the different examples in the code. Sometimes I do a bad job at that, so apologize. And example 4, we're going to look at a parabola. I'm pretty sure that's also a Tool song, but I use parabolas a lot in algebra. And yeah, I don't know why. When I was thinking about this video, I'm like, I want to do a parabola. And that's what ended up happening. So what we're going to say is DEF, and we're going to put parabola in here, parabola, and we're going to put KWARGS. So 2 stars this time, and then KWARGS like that. Not like that, like this, okay? And what we're going to say is A equals, we're going to say B equals, and we're going to say C equals. And inside over here, we're going to say KWARGS dot get, and we're going to get our value for A, which is going to be 1. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for B and C. Okay. And why, I'm going to explain this code in a second, but let me put zeros over here. Man, I misspelled KWARGS again. Just fix that. If it wants to work with me. There we go. All right. So the reason why I have 1 over here is A is going to be the very first part of your parabola, and we need to have an x squared, right? Otherwise, if we don't have A over here, and let's say we start with B, then you have a linear regression. So start with A being 1 on this side of things. We don't technically need B because x squared alone, but if we want to have x squared plus 5x plus 3, right? B and C are optional, but you tend to see them with parabolas. So That's why we're grabbing in 3 arguments, but we necessarily don't need 3 arguments. We just need this first one. So hopefully that makes sense. And actually, I forgot one more line. What I'm going to say is I'm going to say print over here. We're going to F string, and we're going to say the equation for the parabola is, we're going to say y equals, and we're going to say a x squared plus bx plus c, like that. So all we're doing is printing out this parabola, and let's put in some values. So in over here, we're going to say a equals 8, let's say b equals 3, and c equals 2. And the equation for parabola is 8x squared plus 3x plus 2. Let's do another one over here, and we're going to get rid of b. So we just have a and c, and you can see the equation is 8x squared plus 0x plus 2. Let's do it one more time. We're just going to have a equals 8 in here, and you can see the equation is 8x squared plus 0x plus 0. And what happens if we add in extra arguments, right? So let's say we throw in a d over here. Let's say d equals 1. Well, it's ignored because it doesn't fit this formatting, right? We're grabbing a, b, c. We have default values for a, b, and c. We don't mention what's going to happen with d, and that's why nothing happens with d. So there is that example. Okay, let's jump into example number 5. Say example 5, and what we're going to do on this example 5 is sum numbers. Now, you could have easily summed numbers earlier with ARGS, but I wanted to show you a KWARGS example with that. So what we're going to be doing is summing up numbers for ticket sales at concert venues. I love live music, and I'm just going to put a bunch of concert venues that I've been to, and we're going to see the ticket sales for those. So what we're going to say is DEF, and we're going to put ticket sales in here, and we're going to put 2 stars and put KWARGS in here. Okay. And what we're going to start off is we're going to say total equals 0. And we're going to say for value in KWARGS dot values. And remember, this is a dictionary that we're sending in over here. We're going to say total plus equals value, and we're going to return total. Okay. So what this is going to do is it's going to look at the number that's attached in this dictionary, and it's going to sum these up. And this is how it's built out. So let's say ticket sales in over here. And you'll notice also I didn't define anything in here like this last one. Again, 2 different examples, just want to show you different ways that you could use this. So let's start doing some venues. So Beecham is a downtown venue in Orlando that I tend to see a lot of rock and metal bands at. So we'll put Beecham. I think it's about 1,500. Then on the Tampa side of things, in Ybor, I used to go to the Orpheum, and I think the original location is now gone, but I think they were probably 1,000 or 2,000. Let's put them down as 2,000. I go to House of Blues all the time, so we'll put House of Blues over here. That I think is like probably 2,500, maybe 3,000. And lastly, a small venue that I go to. Unfortunately, a lot of small venues I used to go to are gone now, but the Social, I think it's like 300 to 500. Let's just put 300 in over here. And you can see ticket sales is 6,300. 15 plus 2 is 35, plus another 25. So you're at 6,000 plus 3, we're at 6,300. And let's say I wanted to put another venue, no longer exists in Orlando, but we'll put Back Booth over here. That was probably also 300, but I'll put that right over here. You can see we're at 6,600. Again, the variability. And if you don't believe me, if you just want to put one over here, let's just say we have the Beecham 1,500. All right, let's take a look at a text example. So we'll say example 6, text over here. Oops, not test, but text. And let's build this out. So we're going to create a function over here. We're going to say concert like this, and we're going to put in our double stars. So KWARGS, which by the way, you can change this over here, KWARGS. I just keep it to know exactly what's going on. Technically, you could say the same thing with the 2 stars, like, oh, the 2 stars are there. But I prefer to keep kwargs here. It's a little bit of a quirk, but what I'm going to do is we're going to say for key and value in kwargs.items. So this time, right, instead of just grabbing this number, we're going to be grabbing both parts of this dictionary. So that's why I'm using key and value instead of this one where I just grab the value. You'll see this a lot when you run for loops through dictionaries, and I highly recommend you watch my dictionary video if you haven't yet. But we're going to do for key value in args.items, which is going to get both of these over here. We're going to say print, and we're going to say an F string. And what we're going to put over here is key and item. So key and not item, but I should say value. That's right. It's pretty basic, right? Nothing really too special here. And we're going to set up a concert. So what we're going to do is we're going to put band. We're going to say that's equal to Beartooth. Then total songs. We're going to say that's equal to 16, like that. And lastly, we're going to say venue, and we're going to say that's equal to Janice Live. Awesome venue, by the way. Only been there once for that Beartooth concert, but run that, and you can see band, right? This is printed out. This dictionary, total songs, 16, printed out. Venue, Janice Live. And I can expand on this if I wanted to, or subtract away from it if I wanted to. Let's say I want to do state equals Florida, and city equals St. Pete's. So city equals St. Pete's. Check it out. All of these are printed out below. All right, example number 7 this time. So example 7, we're going to do ARGS and KWARGS. Let's expand this out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to expand on this that we had over here. So we're going to say DEF, and we're going to do concert info. So concert info, like that. And the values do matter. You have to put ARGS before KWARGS. So put ARGS first, and then double star, and we'll put KWARGS in here like that. Then first thing we're going to do is for ARGS print, and I'm going to say song. And that over here, space. No, we're going to put arg. Okay, then I'm just going to do another line. So I'm just going to say print. And then we're going to say for key and value. And honestly, I'm lazy. So guess what I'm going to do? Copy code. For key, value, and kwargs.items, print key and value. All right, let's run that. And now we're going to go over here and I'm not going to copy the second one because there's a lot in there already. And what I'm going to put in the front this time is a bunch of songs. So put it in between that, then put the lines. And, whoops, I meant to put concert info there, not concerts. And you'll see song in between the lines, band, Beartooth, total song 16, and Janice Life. And again, you can spruce this up. I only put 2 here, so you might be wondering why 16. That was on the set list that night. And technically, I could put all 16 songs here, print above, and then print out this info. But this is just gets you like a basic framework of how you could use ARGS and KWARGS together. Remember, ARGS first, KWARGS second, and both have to have for loops. You can just put print in here to space them out if you want to, but whatever works best for what you're building out. All right, example 8, and we're going to be taking a look at classes this time. So we're going to do a class with ARGS. Example 9 will be a class with KWARGS. And what we're going to do is create a class called band. Guess when I was writing all these examples, I was listening to a lot of music. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to create def over here. We're going to have our init, and inside we're going to say self, and then also our args. And if you haven't used a class before, no big deal. I have a full video on classes on the channel. I think it's almost like an hour long, so make sure to check that out. All right, so not to get off track, we're going to say self.genre equals args, and we're going to put 0 for our first argument on here. And like that, completing. And then we're going to say self.yearFounded, and that's going to be equal to args1. That. Awesome. And that is our class of band. Pretty basic, right? And what we're going to do is create some bands. So dark tranquility, cannot spell, still can't spell, probably misspelled that, but that's all right. And we're going to say band, and that's going to be mellow death or melodic death metal. And 1989 they were founded, which I can't believe that. Then we have Foo Fighters. It's going to equal over here another band, and they are rock, and they were founded in 1994, which I believe was the last year of Nirvana. And then we're going to put Meshuggah, and we're going to say that's equal to a band, Gent, which you have to throw the D out front. They were founded in 1987. Again, we have a string and also an integer in over here, and we're using that class. And what's awesome is now we can go over here, we can say dark tranquility, and let's put year founded. So year founded 1989, right? And if we want to go over to the next one and do Meshuggah genre, so Meshuggah genre, like that, it's going to say gent. Now let's take a look at this with KWARGS. It's going to be the same exact example, but we're going to say example number 9, and this is our last example in this video. We're going to create a class with KWARGS, right? And honestly, it's going to be very, honestly, a lot of this is going to be the same. So what I'm going to do is copy this framework first. We're going to change this to KWARGS, so KWARGS like that. Then we're going to still have class band, or let's rename this the band too, so we don't get confused. Def init self KWARGS. Then we're going to say self.genre equals KWARGS. And we're going to put genre in here. And then what we're going to do next is year founded. And we'll just say year founded, or year. Let's just put year. So year like that. And that's how you can do it with KWARGS. Let me know, by the way, which method you prefer, the KWARGS or ARGS, when creating a class, if you find this helpful. All right, and we're just going to essentially copy all this all over again. I'm just going to put 2s behind all these band names. No, there's not 2 of each of these bands, but we're just looking at the second example. So band 2, then we're going to say genre equals on each of these. Remember, it's a dictionary. And then we're going to say year equals on each of these as well. And go to the questions after. So let's do that. Not questions, sorry. We'll take a look at some information on each of these bands after. So Foo Fighters, I didn't use them on the first one. Let's look at the year founded. So year founded, and year founded is 1994. And let's go to Dark Tranquility and grab their genre, and mellow death. So that's the end of this, but let's kind of recap this one more time. So ARGS, right? On this side of things, you're looking at a tuple, and KWARGS, we're looking at a dictionary. There's a lot of use cases with these. If you want to go through each of these ARGs, you typically use a for loop for ARG in ARGS like this. When you're doing sums or multiplying and different things like that, what you see a lot in code is setting a total, whether it's like a total equals 0 or a total equals 1, and working on like that. I showed you multiplication over here with ARGs, and then down below were KWARGs. I did total equals 0 for summing all these at the music venue. You could also specify specific things in KWARGS. You can say KWARGS.get, and you can also set default values like this. Also within your functions, you don't necessarily just need to only use ARGs. So I showed you an example of first hitter, second hitter, third hitter before ARGS. And then I also showed you an example where we used both ARGS and KWARGS, and we closed out this video with classes just as an added bonus. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on ARGS and KWARGS. And if you found some value in it and you learned something new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask for in return for making these videos. Now, if you want to learn even more about Python, I have some videos down below that I recommend, or a playlist right over here.